Hey everybody, it's Adam Farkas. Welcome to the show. And as you may or may not be able to see, I am not joined by Paul Farkas next to me. There's no one here. It's just me in the studio alone today. But we do have Paul on the phone today.
I'm here in voice.
He's here in voice.
Hi, everyone.
So what's going on today is that we're having a natural disaster here. We're getting 1 inch of snow, which in Portland means, the whole town shuts down. So Paul couldn't make it here. But at least we got him here on the phone. So thanks for coming on, Paul.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
All right. So... today we're going to talk about a topic that I think we've discussed a little bit before, talking about how patients these days are leading very active lives. They have a lot of challenges in terms of contact lens wear, both in their lifestyle and in the environment, depending on where they live. A lot of people obviously live in dry climates, and that can be a challenge as well. And so what we're going to talk about today is sort of the new technologies around making a lens that meets patients' needs. And we're very fortunate because, as you know, Paul, we don't know much about anything, but we do have Dr.
That's
Scott.
Correct.
We have Scot Morris, Dr. Scot Morris here with us today. So hi, Scott. How you doing?
Great. Thanks.
So we're going to talk about a new lens that has sort of these breakthrough features that can really help a patient meet their needs. And Scott, I don't think you need an introduction to our audience since you've done this many.
Come on, a little introduction.
Okay, I'll give you a little introduction. So Scott is very well known for his work in ocular surface disease, technology, practice management. I'm sure most of the people here have actually listened to him before or heard one of his lectures out there in the field. He's also been widely published in journals and books. So he's an optometric renaissance man. Is that safe to say?
That might be going a little far, but thank you for the compliment.
Okay. Well, Scott, thanks so much for being here.
And also, Optometric Management said he's one of the 50 most influential people in eye care. I'm sorry to say, Ed, you were 51 and I was 52, and we didn't make the cut.
Yeah. 5,100 and 5,200 maybe. So,
well, thank you guys very much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to be on the line with you guys again today.
Great.
Scott, you've been practicing optometry now for about 20 years. And you've come across various types of patients with a multitude of visual and lifestyle needs. Tell us a little bit about your practice in terms of location, demographics, and more importantly, some of the common problems you face with ocular issues.
Well, thanks, Paul. I have a private practice up in the mountains in Colorado, kind of on the foothills called Conifer, Colorado. We're about 30 minutes southwest of Denver, just up around 9,000 feet where, and a good day when it's raining, maybe we're at 10% humidity. And for us, I was kind of laughing at you guys with the 1 inch of snow because here they don't even call school off until we get above 3 feet. So it would kind of laugh when you guys say 1 inch. We're like, my kids consider that frost. So we live in a pretty high, really dry, relatively low oxygen kind of place. And so, our practice is, probably a pretty average population, somewhere around 38 to 50 years old, probably very fit, very healthy. But we live in a really low humidity environment that's at high elevation. And those kinds of, and people are really active, and that makes the kind of a unique challenge for many of our patients. And we're in a very, a market that there's a lot of computer use. A lot of people work from home, spend long days, spend a lot of time on digital devices, so it can be really stressful on eyes, and especially contact lens wearing eyes.
So with that type of challenge, what kind of contact lens wearers do you find in your practice? How is it impacted?
Well, I often joke. Oh yeah, I often joke, if you can wear contacts here in Colorado, you can wear them just about anywhere. I guess to answer your question is my patients are always very interested in contact lenses. However, they demand the contact lenses can keep up with them. They don't want to compromise on simplicity of use or comfort. They want to have it all.
Right. And so what would you say that's sort of the top lens surface features of a contact lens, especially in your environment? And how does that relate to sort of the newest lenses that are on the market?
Well, I found that, as long as we can resist some of the lipid deposition on the surface That provides really good lens surface wettability. And, you know, that's why lenses like the Alcon has developed the AIR OPTIX plus Hydraglyde contact lens. And these kind of merge two of Alcon's technologies, the proprietary Smart Shield technology found in AIR OPTIX, as well as the Hydraglyde moisture matrix technology that we already see featured in a lot of Alcon's premier contact lens solutions. So, I mean, I think that we can talk like just for a minute, maybe the Smart Shield technology, and that's a really unique technology found in currently all the AIR OPTIX lenses. And it's really kind of like a protective lens treatment that helps keep moisture on the lens and helps keep deposits off the lens. And that helps provide a really smooth, clear contact lens surface that not only maintains its integrity, but really lasts quite well through its entire wearing period.
Right, so it doesn't sort of wear off over the wearing period. It's permanent and part of the lens?
Correct. I mean, it doesn't wear off, even with like daily handling and cleaning. And so this technology is formed by modifying the lens surface using a plasma, which is really low pressure ionized gas in which some electrons have been stripped away from the molecules, making them really reactive. And this Smart Shield process then molecularly bonds this reactive, what it turns out to be methane and kind of air plasma to the lens surface to create this really ultra thin layer that's rich in carbon, oxygen, and of course nitrogen. And then this technology delivers not only an ultra smooth protective outer surface that's really designed to minimize the amount of exposed surface silicone. And we all know that that's what causes many of the wettability difficulties we find in silicone hydrogel contact lens materials. And by preventing the silicone from reaching the surface, the Smart Shield technology helps the lens surface really remain its wettability or keep its wettability and resist many of those irritating deposits that cause comfort issues. And by doing that, it helps maintain consistent comfort throughout the entire wearing period.
Right. And so do the new AIR OPTIX plus Hydraglyde contacts provide the same Smart Shield technology related benefits as the AIR OPTIX brand contact lenses?
They do, Adam. And you know, but what makes AIR OPTIX plus Hydraglyde contact lenses different is they've also included another breakthrough technology I mentioned a little earlier called Hydraglyde moisture matrix. And, you know, the moisture matrix is a proprietary moisture technology.
That's right. So it's featured in Clear Care Plus with Hydraglyde and Optifree Pure Moist MPDS.
Absolutely. And the Clear Care Plus with Hydraglyde was recently actually even named the Eye Care Product of the Year in the 2016 Consumer Survey of Product Innovation.
Great. So how do AIR OPTIX plus Hydraglyde contact lenses work?
Well, so it's really interesting. First, the Hydraglyde, it's really a block copolymer that absorbs into the AIR OPTIX contact lens during the manufacturing process. And then the Hydraglyde molecule, it has both a hydrophilic side that attracts lens surface moisture, and that's also been shown in laboratory studies to improve lens surface wettability right out of the pack and even after 16 hours of simulated wear versus some of the other brands that are out there.
Oh, that's very interesting. Can you tell us more about these studies?
Oh, sure. Well, I guess if you think about it like this, one way to assess contact lens material wettability is to place a droplet of test liquid on the lens and then measure the angle at which the droplet contacts the lens surface. If the lens is hydrophilic, the droplet will kind of tend to spread out over the entire lens surface and then kind of resulting in a really low contact lens angle. But the more hydrophobic the lens is, the more the droplet's pushed away, resulting in a much higher contact lens angle, or contact angle as they call it. We can kind of test the wettability of a contact lens over time by comparing contact angles when the lens is fresh out of the pack, and then, you know, again, usually after like a full day's worth of simulated wear. And if the contact lens angle, if the contact angle is the same out of the pack as it is after simulated wear, that's a really good indication the contact lens can retain its surface wettability throughout the day. And the study that kind of backs this, an in vitro lab study, demonstrated that AIR OPTIX plus Hydraglyde maintained a very, very low contact angle after 16 hours of simulated wear compared to lenses like AIR OPTIX Aqua. Now at baseline, interestingly, both lenses demonstrated contact angle of 7 degrees, but after 16 hours of simulated wear, the AIR OPTIX Aqua had increased to 21 degrees, and that's a difference of 14 degrees, while AIR OPTIX plus Hydraglyde increased from 7 to 8 degrees. So only one, maintaining that wettability. And so as a clinician, that's pretty impressive.
Well, that's very interesting research. Do you recommend pairing AIR OPTIX plus Hydraglyde lenses with a lens care solution that contains Hydraglyde?
Well, yes. I mean, and so I often recommend pairing AIR OPTIX plus Hydraglyde contact lenses with Alcon's premium peroxide care solution called Clear Care Plus with Hydraglyde. And so for most patients who prefer the multi-purpose solution like Optifree Pure Moist, which is a multi-purpose disinfecting solution, that also includes Hydraglyde Moisture Matrix. Now, these lens care solutions can keep or help keep silicone hydrogel lenses wettable and have been shown to really add extra hours of comfortable wear time. For example, in a study, I think it was about 130 symptomatic patients, the use of Clear Care Plus resulted in about a 60% improvement in the end-of-the-day comfort at the end of a 30-day period. Now, in the same study, patients using Clear Care Plus reported cleaner feeling lenses and a lot less incidence of blurry vision and 3 additional hours of comfortable wear time. Now, that's really important. I mean, people want long-term comfort, and we live in days where, they're not wearing their lenses for an hour. They want to be able to wear them all day. Now, in a separate 90-day double mask study, which included more than 550 patients, Optifree Pure Moist significantly enhanced the patient's lens wear experience in terms of both moisture and comfort and clear vision. And when used with a range of either Sci-Hi or traditional hydrogel lenses, now, Optifree Pure Moist has also been found to provide 16 hours of lens moisture, which contributed really to the patients reporting that, they were comfortable from the time they did a lens insertion in the morning to the time they removed them in the evening. Now, both these contact lens solutions then are appropriate to use with any soft contact lens, but the Hydraglyde Moisture Matrix is really specifically designed to benefit silicone hydrogel lenses. And with nightly use of these solutions, AIR OPTIX plus Hydraglyde contact lens patients can really maximize the outstanding moisture benefits of Hydraglyde Moisture Matrix all month long.
Right. So are there any other lenses that have hit the market yet that have the same sort of features or tech?
Well, at least as the time we're airing this, AIR OPTIX plus Hydraglyde is the first and only contact lens brand to feature both Smart Shield technology and Hydraglyde Moisture Matrix. And that really gives a unique combination of deposit protection and lens surface moisture retention. Right.
And I'm going to ask the question that Paul always asks, but I'll do it this time. What ranges does it come in?
That's always a really important question,
right.
too. I mean, yeah, so the parameter range of the AIR OPTIX plus Hydraglyde contact lens is -12 to +8. This is equal to like the AcuvUoasis Oasis and wider than some of the other competitors like Ultra and Pure Vision. And the expanded plus and minus powers really allowed for a much greater patient reach, many more people that have access to this kind of technology.
Sure. And in your practice, have you found any sort of particular patient group or patient type that might do best with it?
Well, that's a great question, Adam. I mean, I think it's really important that when we sit down with our patients, we really listen carefully to what they're saying. And we have to ask questions of their medical history and their lifestyle. And then after we listen to all that and take all that in, prescribe a lens that's going to meet their needs. Not all lenses are the same for all patients. So we need to let them focus on their lives and not really have to worry about their contact lenses. And, that being said, I mean, any patients who are appropriate for monthly replacement lenses are going to benefit from, that kind of outstanding deposit resistance and really long-lasting surface hydration, especially faced with some of the challenges, not just in every environment, but especially in the environment I live in. Those people are really good fits for the AIR OPTIX plus Hydraglyde contact lenses. Let me give you an example. Let me take some of my own patients. There was this one executive visiting a couple weeks ago, and he said he travels all the time. He has really long working hours, and I asked, what does that mean? He goes, well, for us, 8 to 12 hours a day is kind of just the routine day, and that's not even a long day. And when we switched him, from another lens to AIR OPTIX plus Hydraglyde, and he came back in, and he didn't even really need a refit because he was already wearing an AIR OPTIX Aqua lens, and so he was so much happier with this. And we in the last couple of weeks, I can think about we had a college student, I think if I remember right, she was a sophomore. And so she wore like 2-week replacement lenses and a heavy computer and digital device user, which I think most college kids are these days. You know, I had another patient who's an ER doc. He's actually a good friend of mine. He needed a more, let's call it a high performance contact lens, because those guys work some crazy hours. And his current monthly replacement lens he was in, this wasn't cutting it. And so we said, okay, we got to change him. Then we had another patient just the other day, younger patient, an athlete who had really never worn contact lenses before. And I look at all 3 of those patients and I said, well, we're going to try something different for you. And patients always love different. They love that word different. So I recommended the AIR OPTIX plus Hydraglyde contact lens to these patients. And, you know, in the case of the executive who had been wearing the AIR OPTIX Aqua, we didn't require a refit. I mean, that was a really pretty straightforward one. We're just switching lenses and really lens technology, but the fit worked pretty much the same. And so that was much more efficient. You know, I'm all about efficiency. And so if I can be efficient with my chair time, I'm all over that. You know, that makes patients be in and out faster. It's better for the practice. It kind of works all together.
That's excellent. Well, on that note, I think we're just about out of time. So can you wrap it up? Scott, thanks so much for talking with us about AIR OPTIX plus Hydraglyde contact lenses today. Do you have any parting thoughts for us?
No, I mean, thanks, guys. I always appreciate having time, or you guys taking time and having me on the show and getting a chance to educate some of our peers. And, you know, I appreciate the opportunity to discuss some of the real world modern day issues that we all face in practice and talk about some of my experiences. And, you know, I always hate to say the word wisdom because some days I wonder if I have that or not, but at least my experience about some of the new AIR OPTIX plus Hydraglyde contact lenses. And I hope that all of you guys listening, what I talked about today, you know, take that back, and hopefully I encourage some of you to give them a try and find out for yourself.
Great. Well, thank you, Scott. And again, you know, this is going to be posted on ODwire, and right beneath it, you'll be able to see a whole bunch of comments. So if you have any comments or questions for Scott or me or Paul, or just feel like talking, come on into the discussion thread, and the conversation will continue online. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Just like talking. I love that. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Scott. Bye now.